ඇවිල්ලා. හොඳ නෑ.
ඊට පස්සේ මම හිතුවා
මෙයාට ඕවා හොඳ නෑ.
ඩයබිටිසෝල් සීනි වලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට විශේෂයි. විටමින් khනිජ සහ තන්තු සමගින් නිසි පෝෂණයක් ලබා දෙයි.
මේ තමයි ඔයාට හොඳ දේ.
අඩු ග්ලයිසමික් දර්ශකයක් සහිත සමබර පෝෂණීය ඩයබිටිසෝල්.
සීයා මාරයි.
සීයාගේ පුතත් මාරයි.
A very good evening, everyone. I hope I'm clear and audible to all of you. Wish you all a very, very happy and a very prosperous 2021. I'm Rasini Bandara, co-convener Social Activities Subcommittee from batch of 2003, Visakha Vidyalaya, your host and moderator for the day. Well, you all are here to witness the second webinar of the webinar series organized by Social Activities Subcommittee of Visakha Vidyalaya All Girls Association. Unleash Your Inner Sparkle is a webinar series designed to address many timely concerns, much relatable to present days. So today we are all set to discuss such a timely and a very relatable topic. You all know what the topic is. It's safe and responsible use of the internet. Now, when we talk about year 2020, the 2020 gave us the biggest challenge ever faced by humanity. And in such circumstances where people were parted, loved ones were separated, it was indeed technology and internet that got us so connected. Now, internet has given us access to any individual anywhere in the world. At the same time, it has also given us the access to anyone to reach out to us as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to actually tell you that because of this situation, we are actually pretty much exposed to the world. So is such exposure safe? Are we taking the right measures to keep us or keep ourselves protected while being so exposed? This is exactly what we are ready to discuss today with a panel of expertise representing IT industry and law. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce our fantastic panel of expertise for this webinar today. Most importantly, they are all Visakians. So that is quite a proud factor for all of us here. So first of all, let me introduce our first panelist. She is assistant professor, a PhD holder in ICT. She's secretary to IEEE Sri Lanka section, program coordinator for Faculty of Computing, SLIIT, and she's indeed representing my batch of 2003, none other than Dr. Vindhya Gunavadhana. A very good evening, Vindhya.
Very good evening, Rasini. It's my pleasure to be with you all at this today's panel discussion. I hope we will have a good time.
Fantastic, lovely. Thank you, Windy. So let me introduce our second panelist for the day. She is representing batch of 2005. She is a data scientist for booking.com, and she's connecting to us all the way from Amsterdam, Netherlands. She has a BSc in first class honors from Colombo University. At the same time, she's a holder of her MSc from Stanford University, USA. None other than Devini Senaratna. A very good evening to you, Devini.
Thank you, Rasini. Very happy to be here and looking forward to the talk.
Lovely. Okay, so next up, we have somebody who's actually working with Vindhya. Vindhya knows her really well as well. She is assistant professor of the Department of Information and Technology, SLIIT. She holds a BSc and her MSc in IT. At the same time, she has a PhD in business IT from RMIT University of Australia. She's also the chair of Faculty Quality Cell. I hope I said that correctly. And she is none other than Dr. Anuradha Karunasena. A very
Good
good
evening,
evening,
everyone.
Anuradha.
Thank you. Thank you, Rasini. Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Lovely. Lovely. So last but not least, now let me see. I'm actually in the process of, I need to introduce them in a proper manner. So coming to our fourth panelist, and she is a little younger to me. She is Vindhya Gunavadhana, and the lady who's actually representing the industry of law for this webinar today. And 1 second. And everyone. I'm so sorry for keeping all of you all waiting. I'm just trying to find Vindhya's profile. I'm sorry. I hope, Vindhya, you will forgive me on this. But let me see.
That's all right, Rasini. That's fine.
Thank you so
Carry
much
on.
for
You're
understanding.
No
I had it all
problem.
written. I had it all written, but
That's perfectly fine.
just that, okay. So let me tell as how I remember it. Okay, Vindhya, let's go with it. So Vindhya is holding her LLB at the same time, LLB from London, at the same time LLM from Colombo. And she's also working as a notary public, and she is a commissioner of oaths and also secretary to company. I hope I'm right, Vindhya?
Yes, Rasini.
Fantastic. And she's at the moment, she's also following her MPhil and a PhD from Colombo University as well. She's reading her MPhil and PhD. And I'm really, really happy to have her on this panel as well. A warm welcome to you, Vindhya Nangi, as well.
Thank you very much, Rasini. I'm also glad to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so I hope we are all set to start our discussion. And so, Vindhya with the W.
Yeah, I'm here.
So I will be starting with you today. And so this is going to be in 2 rounds. We are going to have the first round and then a small break, a small commercial break, and we are going to go on for the second round, right? So for the first round, first of all, I would like to connect to Vindhya and start and ask, Vindhya, I would like you to open this forum, right, by giving us an insight to to pretty much the advancement of technology and the opportunities it has opened to Sri Lankans.
Yes, well, it's a timely topic to start since today's panel discussion is all about internet, its usage, good and bad, and so on. So let's start with the advancement of technology. Actually, my academic පැත්තෙන් එන හින්දා I will talk from the academic background as well.
Very good.
First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for giving me this opportunity. It's my pleasure to be with you all here and share my thoughts with you all. So, as you know, internet is one of the most successful outcomes of the technology. අපි එහෙම කියන්නේ අපි හැමදාම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් යූස් කරනවා. උදේ නැගිට වෙලේ ඉඳන් ආයි හවස නිදා ගන්න යනකම් අපි ඉන්ටර්නෙට් යූස් කරනවා. So how we use internet is different from person to person. Some people might be using Facebook, some people might be using YouTube, and some people might be using Google to search things, learn new things, and so on. කොහොම different වෙනස් වුණත් අපි හැමෝම උදේ නැගිට වෙලේ ඉඳලා රැ වෙනකම්ම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් යූස් කරනවා. හැබැයි ඉන්ටර්නෙට් කියන්නේ ටෙක්නොලොජි වල එක දෙයක් විතරයි. අපි ගත්තොත් information technology related things, internet is one of the biggest achievements of information technology, but it's only one of lot of other things.
Very true.
Then අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම successfulness of internet and its opportunities and other things, මම පොඩ්ඩක් හිස්ටරි එක මතක් කරලා ඉන්නම්. ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරු දන්නවා ඇති, සමහරු දන්නේ නැතුව ඇති. ෆස්ට් කම්පියුටර් එක. අපි ෆස්ට් කම්පියුටර් එක කියලා හඳුන්වන එක ඇත්තටම ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරලා තියෙන්නේ 1833 වල චාල්ස් බැබේජ්. We have to recognize his effort because it has given us a lot of opportunities. Computers are used everywhere today in everything. And internet කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම අපි technical term එක ගත්තොත් connecting several computers together or several devices together. Basically a network එකක්. ඉතින් ඒ අර first demonstration එක මේ connecting computers together එක it has happened in 1969. We call it as DAPRA project. So මේ ඔක්කොම සෑහෙන කාලයකට කලින් වෙච්ච දෙයක්. Especially internet 1969 අවුරුදු 60කට විතර කලින්. So it has advanced a lot when it comes to today. ගොඩක් අය මේකට contribute කරලා තියෙනවා. So we will discuss in, I think, with others also, bad and good and bad, both sides of these technology advancements and all. So if I move to the opportunities, then at the information technology කියන field එක ලංකාවේ one of the biggest industry in Sri Lanka. දැන් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න කාලේ මගේ වයසත් අහුවෙයිද දන්නේ නැහැ මේකෙන්. අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න කාලේ හැමතිස්සෙම කිව්වේ තේ පොල් රබර් තමයි අපිට හොඳම ආදායම ගේන්නේ. හැබැයි දැන් ඒක ටිකක් වෙනස් වෙලා we have the industries tourism especially and also apparel. එතකොට දැනට තියෙන විදිහට tourism, tea and apparel තමයි first three. හැබැයි because of this COVID situation, tourism is not performing well. So now IT industry has gained the positions in first three. Again, the tourism, tea and apparel වලට IT industry එකත් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. Especially Sri Lanka is very famous of providing software and IT related services. Maybe because of our brainy people, our brainy IT people, we have gained a lot of opportunities in Sri Lanka. There are a lot of IT companies. ඒකේ විශේෂත්වය තමයි දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා වගේ tourism has been affected by COVID-19 and this pandemic situation, but IT industry, since we are working through a virtual environment, like we are working using computers, internet, IT industry එක නම් එහෙම ලේසියෙන් වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ. So it's a huge advantage and huge opportunity for Sri Lankans to bring the foreign currency. දැන් කට්ටියට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති IT industry එක එච්චර හොඳ නම් IT industry එකේ මෙච්චර jobs තියෙනවා නම්, so there are a lot of job opportunities in Sri Lanka. As I mentioned, a lot of Sri Lankan companies as well as multinational companies. Multinational companies have branches in Sri Lanka. දැන් කට්ටියට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති සමහර විට කොහොමද අපි මේ IT industry එකට join වෙන්නේ, මොනවද තියෙන opportunities. Since I'm working in a university as a lecturer, so I must say we have very good faculties and departments in Sri Lankan universities that are related to computing engineering and technology related degrees. සමහරුන්ට හිතන්න පුළුවන් අනේ මට computer engineering කරන්න බෑ, IT උනත් මම කැමති නෑ එහෙම කියලා. හැබැයි ඕගොල්ලන්ට වෙන දක්ෂතා තියෙනවා නම් there are multidisciplinary higher study opportunities. For an example, biotechnology. If you have done biology, you can integrate IT into bio and you can follow a biotechnology degree. Food technology. Food technology is one of the most popular field these days. Food and information technology together. Interactive multimedia, ඔයගොල්ලන්ට graphic designing වල එහෙම නැත්නම් චිත්‍ර අඳින්න ඒ වගේ දක්ෂතාවයක් තියෙනවා නම් you can follow an interactive multimedia degree, which is once again a multidisciplinary field which connects graphics and other things with IT. ඊට වැඩිය තව ගියොත් සමහරු කැමති ඇති aerospace එහෙම නැත්නම් nanotechnology වගේ ඒවා. ඒතකොට scientist කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. Scientists, they also, especially the simulation experiments, ඒ වගේ ඒවා යන්නේ IT simulations or software එක එකතු වෙලා. ඉතින් මෙහෙම බැලුවම IT කියන්නේ information technology කියන්නේ හැම දෙයකටම related එකක්. IT එක alone, it's not an like a single area. It is connected with many other areas. So you can select any area, depends on your interest. software engineer කෙනෙක්ම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. එහෙම නැත්නම් computer programmer කෙනෙක්ම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ IT කරනවා කියලා. So you have a lot of other opportunities and there are a lot of job opportunities available as well. මම දන්න තරමින් IT degree එකක් කරපු ලංකාවේ කවුරුත්ම නැහැ jobs නැති. Not only government universities but there are other private universities as well providing opportunities for you all to follow IT degrees. So there are a lot of opportunities available for information technology and its advancement, other areas, as I mentioned, nanotechnology, aerospace, and so on. So all the doors has been opened for you. You have to grab the opportunities.
Lovely. වින්ද මං හිතන්නේ බොහොම පැහැදිලි උත්තරයක් තමයි ඔයා එතනදී ලබා දුන්නේ. මොකද IT කියලා කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඕනෑම ශාස්ත්‍රයකට වැදගත් වෙන මේ ෆීල්ඩ් එකක්. මං හිතන්නේ අපි මෙතන මං හිතන්නේ මේ වෙලාවේ අපිත් එක්ක සහභාගී වෙලා ඇති විවිධ ශාස්ත්‍රවල අය ඉතින් එතකොට මේ ඕනෑම ශාස්ත්‍රයකට මේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ ටෙක්නොලොජි මේ කම්පියුටර් මේ දැනුම අනිවාර්යෙන් අත්‍යවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට එතනදී මේක අත්හැරලා දාන්න බැරි විදිහේ විෂයක් මං හිතන්නේ වින්දාගේ වයස කලින්ම අහුණා මොකද මම බැච් එක කිව්වනේ මොකක්ද කියලා. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ දැන්. කලින් කිව්වා නම් මම
no problem we are always young at heart.
Absolutely. So thank you so much Vindhya for that elaborated very very well explained answer. Now I would like since you touched Sri Lanka, now we have somebody who's connected with us all the way from Netherlands. Hi Devini.
Hello. Hi,
Hello. Devini, now Vindhya spoke about the opportunities that has opened up to individuals due to advancement of technology. I would like to go globally now. So what are the opportunities that internet has created globally for individuals?
Okay, so maybe I'll break this up into a couple of sections and like building on what Vindhya already said. So when you talk about opportunities of the internet, so jobs is one side of it. But again, as Vindhya started her discussion, it's not just the jobs, but there are other parts of our lives which have also been impacted. So one is the impact it would have on students. So like say young Visakians watching this webinar today. Then there's just us, like everyday, the people's everyday life, as Vindhya also explained. And then there's the job opportunities. So maybe I'll start with students. Does that work, Rasini?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, so talking about students, so maybe I'll relate this a bit to my time at Visakha too. So say when we were kids in school, say maths, I mean, that's what my field is most related to. So I think all of us for our O-levels, maybe you remember we had to do the Pythagoras theorem. And sometimes, okay, here's a smile. I mean, some kids kind of got it as soon as it was taught, but some people, take a little bit more time. Others need other visual techniques. So, and the only people we could ask is, so like in the class, we used to ask like our other friends, or we could ask our teacher, or maybe our family at home, and maybe the library. But that was probably about it. There was no internet. And even for that, you had to wait till the next day till you meet your friends, or go and find your teacher in the teacher's room. So, I mean, it took time to do all this. But say today, say you went to school and you had a problem with the, say, Pythagoras theorem, you could just Google it on YouTube and you can get a really, really good explanation, say from somebody in some other country, and also with like really nice animations and visuals. You can pause this explanation, say till, it kind of like seeps into your head and really understand it. So as a student for like learning, the internet has basically like pretty much revolutionized it because it's faster and cheaper. Like you don't have to go and pay a lot of money for like an extra class or something. And it's not just maths or science, like say even the history, we can look at like different points of view for say World War II, not just say what the British thought or France thought or the US, but what like say Germany thought, what Russia thought, what Australia or Singapore thought about it. And I know maybe I'll give an example of even something else as from a student's point of view. So when I just remembered when I saw Vindhya Gunavadhana. So at Visaka, for our O-levels, I don't know whether you had this, Rasini, we had Charitutunak, which was
Yes.
you do remember it, okay. And I remember we only had a few chapters from Charitutunak for O-level Sinhala literature, not the whole story. And so my O-level Sinhala teacher was Chandra Peramis, she was like amazing. Anyway, and we had like a million questions for her, like, what happened to Isa? Did Isa like Lalita? Like what happened to Ranjit? What happens in the end of the story? And the only option we had was to, and what Chandra Perami said was, you can like read the book from our library, but there were so many kids who had like just a few books. And there was also a TV, like a teledrama about it. But again, you had to wait till it comes on TV. But now you can just, again, it's there on YouTube, the whole teledrama. Of course, there's a whole conversation on copyright and all that, but you have access and you can get context for your school work, which make things more exciting. And you can go into whatever depth you like. So, and maybe even on like another angle, like you want to learn to play an instrument. Now, of course you need to buy the instrument, but maybe you don't need to actually go to a class. There are so many links online which you can watch and learn. So from an education point of view for school children, the internet has basically made things so much more accessible and faster. So that's kind of the children's side of things. And also to connect it to your question about globally, it's not just say within Sri Lanka, you can connect to anybody in the world. So you want a guitar lesson, you can get that kind of lesson from anybody in the world. And then there is, of course, our day-to-day lives. Again, like how, as Vindhya explained, like from the time we get up in the morning till the time we sleep, we always we use the internet to either message people, to coordinate this webinar, to order a taxi, say an Uber or a Pick-me, like so many things. But maybe I kind of move on now to the kind of global opportunities in terms of jobs. So again, I would probably, again, break it up into some sections. So firstly, you have like the core jobs, which came out of, say, internet technology companies. These are, when I say internet technology companies globally, these are, say, like the FANGs, like the Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, so on. Here, generally, some of the core roles would be, say, first starting with hardware engineers, right? So we need, say you're using a phone, you need people who actually design these, make them faster, lighter, battery life to be longer, and so on. Then you have the software engineers who kind of write the code, which is used from things like the operating systems to applications. And then there's, of course, what the internet brought, another thing that the internet brought is like a ton of data. And that's where I come in. So here you get like artificial intelligence people, then like analytics people to do with data science and so on. And then maybe the kind of also the more creative side, like the user interface designers, like how do you design a website to make it both look nice, but also easy to navigate. And then the sales and marketing side, because it's no use making all these products or apps if you don't market them or sell them. And then to kind of coordinate all these things, there are also like very specialized managerial roles, like product managers, whose job is to bring all these people together. So you kind of need that knowledge to be these kinds of managers. So that's kind of like, I would say, like some of the, this is not all, but some of the kind of core global opportunities for these kinds of roles. And then moving on, globally, you would have so many, I wouldn't say supporting, but other fields that came out of the internet, which again, like Vindhya also touched upon. But maybe to elaborate some of the roles you get more globally. So there's also the infrastructure side, like where you store data, like cloud computing, and then database engineers, because you need to manage all these databases. And then also kind of the banking side, which is like massively impacted from the internet. So everything from like online banking to safety, risk-related jobs. Because with the fact that the internet is now, I mean, it made things faster, it revolutionized communication, it also has brought in a lot of risks that come with it. So you can steal a lot of money really, really quickly, for example. So how to handle those kinds of problems. And then again, on the creative side, like social media, like content creators, social media advertising, that's like a huge field now. And then even consultancy firms. So basically, I've just said like a long list of these different fields, but my point is globally, it's not just about being, it's not the mathematical or technical fields, again, like how Vindhya said, but also the more creative ones, like the content creators or UX designers, or the more communication heavy roles like sales or marketing. And this is kind of, I would say, the roles that are very more connected to the internet. But then there's another group, which is, excuse me, fields that you can use the internet for. So for example, say you want to be an Uber driver. Say previously maybe you want to be an Uber driver part-time, or say during COVID you wanted to do like a part-time job, like you wanted to bake, you were really, really good at baking cakes, so you wanted to bake those cakes and then sell it to some people. You can easily use the internet, say like a Facebook group, create your own page and start using that for small businesses. So the internet kind of brought this, and it's something anybody can do. You don't need to be this specialized web marketing person to do that. So it opened up this huge opportunity for small and medium-sized businesses. And again, it also kind of really speeded up, again, I'm talking about communication. Maybe I'm gonna end with this, that because communication became faster, there are also a lot of opportunities in getting things done faster globally. And so I think probably the best example is the coronavirus right now. So when China, I think as early as January in 2020, released the gene sequence of the coronavirus when it was in Wuhan, I think publicly. So even at that time, companies like Moderna started actually building the vaccine, because even before like the disease actually got to the US, as far as we know, they could start building this vaccine. And what enabled it is this fast transfer of data through the internet. So it's a lot of fields that have been impacted by the internet. I hope this is not technical.
It's everywhere, and there are so many opportunities. I think that thank you so much, Devini, for actually giving a wonderful insight to that. Now I would like to turn to Anuradha K.
Hello, Rasini.
Hello, Ake. Anuradha Ake, I would like you to acknowledge us on. Now, see, we have become very much high-tech, but are we actually using it the right way? Like I even mentioned earlier in my intro, that, we are so much exposed, but at the same time, are we actually safe in these, in being so exposed to the world like that? So can you acknowledge us on the general tips of using internet safely?
Yes, Rasini. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. So what I'll be doing is I'll just give you some brief overview on how you can use internet safely. So if we have techie audience, you can just brush up. So if you have non-technical audience, of course, maybe you can take something from it. So I have some slides as well, because it will be useful for some people to read as well. So let me share it. Just let me know if you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Can you see it? Right. So actually, I thought of starting with this. It's a post I have taken from Facebook. Probably many of you have seen this. I don't know whether you wondered what it means, right? So it says like one person is telling that my wife asked me why I spoke so softly in the house, right? And she said what he has told is like, I was worried that Mark Zuckerberg was listening, right? Then what is interesting is the last two lines. See, it says actually last four lines if you take, It says, she laughed, I laughed, Alexa laughed, and Siri laughed, right? So what it really implies to, that is the interesting thing, right? So because every day we are sharing a lot of things and we have a lot of devices connected and they might be taking a lot of data from us, right? So intentionally or not intentionally, maybe we are sharing some sensitive information. So in that kind of situation, we might be at a risk, right? So I will just go on through my slides. So Rasini, if I go out of time, please inform me because I can go on and on this. So these are some very basically when you can be at risk, right? So sometimes when you get emails, you might have links. So we don't know even from whom the email is, but out of curiosity, maybe we might open it, and if there are links, you might even click it, right? So that is a very bad thing. So if it is from a hacker or any, a person who is actually doing it with a very bad intention, sometimes they can take control of your computer and get hold of your data, right? So that in that kind of situation, you can be at risk. And sometimes, when we have old phones, we might have WhatsApp installed, Viber installed, and when we buy a new phone, maybe we can actually sell or hand it over to someone, our old phone, right? So we actually don't think much. Maybe we have deleted that, we have not uninstalled, so we just hand over, right? So then, of course, maybe we might have even our photos and other sensitive information in this phone. So in that case, in that kind of situation, again, we might be at risk. And if you are connecting to an unsecured network, we have, when you go to some places, you have free Wi-Fi. So everybody loves free Wi-Fi, right? So everybody try to connect to free Wi-Fi, right? So in such kind of a situation, of course, sometimes it can be, we can be at a risk. And when we install third-party applications, right? So we have licensed software, and we have, when you are installing in our phone, we have Play Store. Likewise, we have some authentic sources, right? So without that, if you are getting application from here and there, and software also from here and there, and if you are installing, still it can be, it can be harmful. It can be, we might have some, let's say bad application, let's call it like that, right? So we have any dangerous applications which might destroy your data and lock your data sometimes, so you can even access your data, right? So that kind of things can happen. And still, you are very innocent, you have, you have taken many precautions. Still, when a hacker is involved, a talented hacker, he can get hold of your data, right? So those things can happen, right? So anyway, so what we can do from our side is we can take precautions, and we will try, if we know generally what are the good things we should do, good practices, we can follow these things, then we are safety. We are safe for, for a better extent, let's say like that, right? Okay, so moving on. So these are the risks. So let's see, generally, what can you do to be safe in a cyberspace? Now, these are general things. It might be applicable for your Gmail or other, if you are using any, let's say you're logging into some other websites, maybe some learning websites, anything, right? Banking, anything, some general tips are what I have in these slides. For example, you have to use a strong password. So what is a strong password? So now my name is Anuradha, right? Again, I have Vindhya, who is my colleague. So if I use if I use Anu321 or Anu123, or let's say Vindi 987, right? That is not a good password, right? So anyone can try it. It's very, it's something which is very obvious, right? So using something like that is not recommended, right? So using part of your name, maybe birth date, maybe phone number even, those things are not considered as good password. 123 321 8789 So those are also not recommended, right? Again, like if you have keys in your keyboard, you have ASD lines in the keyboard. ASD is adjacent to each other. Some people use that, right? So if I say Anu ASD, that is bad, and that's not a strong password. So what is expected is So you can use you can be very creative. I mean, you can use, now you have a lot of things in, I mean, a lot of keys in your keyboard, right? So use them. So you have $sign, you have asterisk, you have ampersand, you have @sign. So what you can do is when you're using a password, use a combination, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and you can use these symbols. Keep a combination and you can create a good pass. And also for security, update your password regularly. And passwords are supposed to be confidential. Please don't reveal it to anyone, right? So from my experience, now last semester, now actually two of our students, we found identical assignments, right? I'm just sharing example for you. So identical assignments. So when I asked the two students, both says we have not copied, right? And so we can't find out actually who has copied. Obviously someone has copied, but we don't have proof, right? Then one of the students, when we drilled down, one of the students said, I had a book where I have written my password, right? So she said like that, right? So then probably what she mentioned is that like maybe the other student has got hold of that, right? So we don't know really, but even if we do know, you don't expect that from IT graduate anyway, to write your password in a book, right? That is not what we expect, right? So the point is you have to keep it confidential, right? Don't share it with anyone. It's your password, right? So then identify secure website. So how do you identify a secure website? Website starting from HTTPS. So if you are logged into Facebook, check it. The URL, it says HTTPS, not HTTP. And there's a padlock, right? Padlock sign on the URL bar. You can see it, right? That is a secure website. And use license software. Don't, when you download torrents, when you download pirated software, you can be at a risk. And in case where you can face data loss, so please take regular backup. Keep it in now you have a lot of cloud sources. You can store it in Google Drive, or you can have a USB drive. So there are a lot of portable disks. You can take backups and store it in other location basically. Then you can always now operating systems, those developers are always releasing patches for security loopholes. So make sure that when there's an update, you can update your operating system. Keep it updated. This is applicable for your machine as well as your mobile phone, right? And for safety, you can keep a genuine antivirus software. These things are available. I think most people know these things, right? Antivirus software are there. So just get one of these antivirus software and install it in your machine. Then you can, you can ensure your safety. Then again, as I mentioned in the previous slide, don't click on unknown emails. If you have links, don't click on that. And lock your computer wherever you go. Sometimes people make jokes, right? I mean, they log from your Facebook and put a status which you don't want at all, right? Those things happen. So be cautious. Just lock your computer. And if you log into for example, if I go to my computer lab in my institute, that is where everyone can log in, right? So when I log in, I have to log out from there. So that is something I should do for safety of my accounts, right? So moving on, Rasini, am I going out of time?
Well, you can have about another 2 minutes.
Right. Okay. Right. So, right. Okay. So security in mobile phones. Now you can have a passcode. You have these 4 digits, and you can have a pattern likewise. So use these features. And whenever there's a possible, you can put the fingerprints and biometrics. So enable those things. So because even if your phone is stolen, without your fingerprint, they cannot unlock it, right? So that is a good thing. You can do it. Even in I don't know whether people are aware of that. Even WhatsApp, you can lock using your fingerprint, right? That is something you can do. So if you don't have passcode or any security in your mobile phone, you can lock your WhatsApp account, right? And similarly, turn off the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when you're not using it, because a person can using Bluetooth, some people can get to know the device you have connected to, and they can actually spoof it, right? So then when you are not using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, please turn it off. And similar to operating system, the desktop and laptops, you have to update your mobile phone's operating system as well. And moving on, security in social media. So then now when you're logging into your social media, I mean, let's say Facebook, for example, you are giving email, right? So make sure that that email is active. So if your Facebook is compromised, right, you have to go to that email account. So if it is not active, you can't do much, right? So make sure that you do that. And I will just quickly go through. I will not go through all of these points because we are running out of time. So use two-factor authentication. That is like, so I want to validate when I'm logging in using my machine as well as my mobile phone, right? So if my account is being logged in using another device, I get an email, right? So that you can do. Two-factor authentication is in social media. WhatsApp, it's there. Gmail, it's there. Facebook, it's there. All of these main applications, social media and internet applications, you have this feature. So please make use of it. And finally, securing your email. Basically, it's the same thing, actually. You use two-factor authentication and think twice when you open an email and click on a link. And sometimes this is another interesting thing. So many, many times, many of you have experienced this one, at least once in your lifetime, you get an email telling you have won a lottery or something, right? Large sum of money, and sometimes a pop-up window comes in your computer saying you have won an iPhone. It's very tempting, right? So but don't go to enter your personal details on these web pages, or don't reply to these emails, right? So I think that's basically, I have summarized the things you can do to secure your securely use the internet, right? So yeah, I think that's it, right? Hope you got something from that.
Absolutely, Anuradhaki. Thank you so much. Indeed, it was a massive learning experience for me as well. For example, I have a common password for everything, so I think it's high time I do some changes to my own, practice as well. Thank you so much again. Now I would like to turn to Vindhya. Vindhya, Nangi, I hope you are connected. Yes, she's there. Hello, Vindhya.
Hello.
Now, this is quite a common concern, Nangi. Now, as a therapist, this is one issue that I myself has experienced many a times, where a lot of people have come to me regarding this issue, cyberbullying. What is cyberbullying actually? Is it what we honestly understand? And I would like to know much more from you about this, since you are pretty much connected to the legal side of things. And what is cyberbullying? So the right definition of it, and maybe if you can share some real life examples with us. And also, what is the right way of seeking legal help if you are ever faced with such circumstances?
Thank you very much, Rasiniaki. So I will start my discussion with cyberbullying. So the term cyberbullying is defined as the process of using internet or maybe cell phone or any other device to send, post, or to text images or intended to hurt or embarrass another person, maybe your fiance, maybe your friend, someone. So this concept of cyberbullying and cyber harassment are also known as online bullying, and this online bullying has become increasingly common, especially among teenagers, as the digital sphere has expanded and technology has advanced. So this cyberbullying can take many forms. It can be a text message, it can be a involvement in social media or any other online space. So this cyberbullying can be done either privately or publicly by a group. That means it can be committed by an individual or a group of persons. And also at the same time, it may take place anonymously. At the same time, this also be extended to cyber violence. So this concept of cyberbullying. There are few examples of cyberbullying, and they range from like spreading rumors about someone on social media. So if you say something to another person, it amounts to defamation, as all of us know. So if you publish a diary, if you publish a newspaper article, if you say something against someone with a good reputation, it amounts to defamation, and you can go to a courts for a defamation case and you can get compensation. But here we are talking about cyberbullying, therefore it deals with spreading rumors about someone on social media. Okay, at the same time, threatening someone online. You threat someone saying that, okay, I will post your naked pictures, one of the most common areas. Threatening someone online. Or by creating a Facebook account, maybe Facebook or Instagram, or posting compromising images of another person online, or harassing another through a digital medium and leaving abusive comments online. Every day we go through these areas actually without knowing that this is cyberbullying. All of us must have gone through this actually. I have gone through this, not personally, but I have seen so many abusive comments. I have seen so many fake profiles, because at least per month I receive 2-3 messages saying that, Nangi, Aki, please ignore this message. If you ever get a message from my Facebook account, please ignore. Rasini Aki, you must have gone through this.
Absolutely.
So this is cyberbullying. We didn't know that it was cyberbullying, but it amounts to cyberbullying. All right. So with regard to Sri Lanka's legal framework, this cyberbullying concept is not listed as a separate offense. We are not that developed. Therefore, it is not identified as a separate offense, but certain provisions in the Penal Code of Sri Lanka provide alternatives to take actions against those perpetrators. Even if it is not identified as a separate offense, there are actions that can be taken against those perpetrators. That's the basic general idea. However, the lack of awareness surrounding the issue and a general mistrust in the legal system. We've had this issue for a long time, and we will have this issue for a long time as well. And at this end, as well as the longevity of court proceedings, often discourages victims from taking actions. People are scared to go to courts, saying that it might take some time. Yes, court proceedings, it takes time. We know that. So people are prevented, even if their rights are being violated, still they won't go to courts. So even if, let's keep this cyberbullying apart, even if your human rights are violated, still people won't go to court saying that I will lose my money, I will be wasting my time and all. So that means we do not have a good idea, or we do not have trust. We don't have faith in our legal system. So it happens to this cyberbullying concept as well. So in a situation, what are the actions that can be taken against cyberbullying? There are several actions that can be taken. First and the most important action is gather evidence. What do you mean by gathering evidence? So take screenshots and save all the links. Keep it in a chronological record of everything like related to the incident, so that if something goes wrong, you can prove it as evidence. Law is always about evidence. So to prove it, you have to have records. All right. So always gather evidence, take screenshots. If something has happened to maybe to you or to your loved ones, take screenshots, keep all the records with you. And then that's the first thing. And then you can seek the assistance of a reporting agency. There are many reporting agencies where you can lodge your complaints if there is a serious misconduct, online misconduct. One is Sri Lanka CERT, that is the Computer Emergency Readiness Team, known as CERT. Actually, this is the focal point of cybersecurity in Sri Lanka. Any of you, if something happened to you, then you can lodge your complaint by filling their form in their website. Their website is all simple, cert.government.lk. CERT, that is cert.gov.lk. or you can contact them via telephone. There are few contact numbers given. That is, one is 0112691692 or 0112695749 or 0112679888. So as soon as you type the Sri Lanka CERT or the Computer Emergency Readiness Team, you will be able to get this information or details. And at the same time, you can send them a text message or you can send them an email. Email address is report, all simple, report @cert.government.lk. So that is the first thing that you can do. And number 2, you can go to the CID Cybercrime Division. There you can report the incident and make a complaint with regard to that. Thirdly, if the victim is under 18 years old, as parents, if we face this situation and if the victim is our child, then you can directly go to the National Child Protection Authority. You can contact them through 1929. The National Child Protection Authority's hotline is available 24/7. So at the same time, remember, all the reports are treated confidentially. People are scared. In most of the situations, people are scared, thinking that this will be made to the public. No, they have so many things to do other than making your thing as a public thing. So they are very busy and they don't want to give it to the social media. They won't give it. Therefore, don't stay at home. If your rights are being violated, go. Go to a proper place and get protection. At the same time, the NCPA also have several resources for children and parents online safety, which can be accessed through childprotection.government.lk. So these are the authorities that you can go rely on. And also always remember, cyberbullying is never the fault of the victim. Most of these people say that. She must have posted unnecessary things on Facebook. We must have, all of us have gone through this. So it is not that person's fault. If she is wearing something different, it is totally up to her. So by just posting a picture on Facebook doesn't mean that she will be a victim for cyberbullying.
Right.
So that is, Rasini Akki, that's all with regard to cyberbullying introduction and all. Hope the introduction and the areas and the authorities were sufficient. Actually, I didn't go in depth.
No, that's
that
more than enough, Nangi. Yes, and I think what you said was absolutely right regarding the fact that sometimes these people are prone to be victimized for the second time because of such situations. You know, you're already going through trauma because of cyberbullying, and at the same time, when people make comments and then try to solve problems from their end without seeking proper help, they are victimized over and over, and it's a very, very good thing that you pointed out there. Thank you so much, Nangi. Now, before we move on to our second round, I would like to go and have a look at our sponsors for the day.
අයියලා ඇවිල්ලා. හොඳ නෑ.
ඊට පස්සේ පස්සේ මම ප්‍රකාරය
මෙයාටව හොඳ නෑ.
ඩයබිටිසෝල් සීනි වලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට විශේෂයි. විටමින් khනිජ සහ තන්තු සමගින් නිසි පෝෂණයක් ලබා දේ.
මේ තමයි ඔයාට හොඳ දේ.
අඩු ග්ලයිසමික් දර්ශකයක් සහිත සමබර පෝෂණීය ඩයබිටිසෝල්.
සීයා මාරයි.
සීයාගේ පුතත් මාරයි.
Lovely. Okay, so we are all set to start our round two. Again from Vindhya.
Yes.
Yes. Vindhi.
Okay.
Yes, off to round two, Vindhi. And now this is a very common concern, Vindhi. Now, I think I mentioned this earlier also that, one thing that truly saved us from this pandemic situation was actually technology. And the thing is, even though that we were asked to maintain social distancing and stay apart from our loved ones, and at the same time, staying away from school and universities and all these things, it's indeed internet and technology that actually helped us keep ourselves going. Now, when we talk about the positivity of it, at the same time, everything that's very positive comes with so much of negativity as well. Now, here I would like to direct our conversation to such a point that there's something that we talk very often, and that's internet addiction. When you consider psychology of it, it's pretty much, people say it's equivalent to substance abuse, substance addiction, alcohol addiction, and nicotine addiction. It is something that is growing in many individuals now. So regarding this common issue, right, is there any positivity in this addiction? I mean, because sometimes I think this addiction is pretty much misinterpreted as well, misunderstood as well. So is there anything positive in it, or is it only negative? I would like to point this question to you.
Yeah, Rasini, once again, a very good question that we have to discuss during especially this pandemic situation where all of us are using internet or social media to spend our time, maybe to connect with our loved ones and so on. So as you mentioned, not only internet, everyone or everything has a positive side as well as a negative side. There is a thin line that differentiate the positives as well as the negatives. So what is most important thing is to understand or identify what is this boundary or what is this limit that draws this thin line. So let's see what are the positive sides of the internet addiction, or I would call it as using internet during our day, because I don't want to call it as addiction when we talk about positive sides. So first of all, especially in this pandemic situation where we are locked in our houses, most of us might have searched in internet about cooking, because we want to spend our time in a more useful way, or maybe to have some change in our boring lifestyle. So as mothers or as wives or as even sisters and daughters, we might have looked in internet for cooking. We might have tried out several new recipes. So it's a good addiction, trying out a new thing. Some of us might not have even going to the kitchen before this pandemic happened. Now, as I see in the Facebook, everyone cooks new things and posting new photos. So it's a good thing. Posting photos, or it might be arguable whether it's a good thing or not, posting everything in Facebook, but still trying out new things using the knowledge that you gain from internet is a good thing. Not only cooking, but people have tried out maybe trying yoga, or maybe trying different fitness programs or exercises. That's also one few things that people are doing these days using internet. So absolutely, it's a good addiction. And as I think Vindhya mentioned, someone mentioned reading books from internet. We can read books from internet online. So that
Yeah.
might be a good addiction. Yeah,
Yes.
new
Very
thing, but very good addiction. Not only that, like Facebook, social media, we are connecting with our friends and we are spreading the positivity or positive thoughts among ourselves. So that's once again a positive side of addiction. However, as I mentioned earlier, everything has negative sides as well. So we have to draw the line, what is the boundary and what is the limit. But I have seen a lot of negativity or negative things about internet as well, addiction. Especially I'm working with youngsters, students who are between age, like let's say 19 to 24, 25. So most of these students are addicted to internet. Some of them addicted in a good way, but some of them are in bad way. Like they don't realize that it's an addiction which is bad, but there are we can, as adults, we can see what are the negative sides of this. Especially I might say now, these students, I would call students, they are addicted to gaming, and they are addicted to a lot of social media, watching videos, watching YouTube videos and so on. One thing I have realized is, because this is a virtual environment, YouTube or games are virtual environment, especially in games, you get several chances to do the game and you get a chance to win. But in the real life, we don't get that much chances. We get only one or two chance to do something. Most of the times we might fail. But these students coming from a virtual background where they have won every time, where they have got several chances to win, they can't face the reality. In the real life, when they lose, they think that's the end of the world, because they are so used to win with these virtual games and so on, and they are getting several chances, but it's not the real life. Real life is totally different. So that's one negative thing I have seen among the youngsters. They can't face the reality. They are in a virtual world, especially like, let's say, Facebook. Now, our generation, so we, even though we are in Facebook, we have a lot of friends in Facebook. We talk with each other. We physically meet each other. So we have some sort of physical engagement as well. But these youngsters, their friends are all in Facebook, or most of them are virtual friends, I might say. So the relationship between the people or these youngsters, it's not the reality. So when it comes to a situation where they don't get help from these people, or where these people are not helping them, these youngsters can't stand on it. So they are losing the control and they think that the world has ended. So those are negative effects, especially as you are also aware of these psychological things. I think the personality of these youngsters are highly affecting on these addictions badly, mostly because of this virtual environment.
Very true, Wendy. Very true. Because I
Yeah.
think that's another thing that, when like you said that, in when you're gaming, there are many chances that you are given the opportunity to win. Now, just
Yes.
like that, when people spend a lot of time on social media, when you see a like or a comment or some sort of something very positive written about you, or like mentioned about you, and then that actually kind of gives a certain reward to this individual. Like,
Yes.
so the dopamine is naturally released, which is the happy hormone,
Yeah.
the
So yeah,
neurotransmitter.
of course it's a positive effect if you can understand this is virtual and this is not real, but if it still makes you happy, and if you know what the actual thing is, what the reality, then it's a good thing or positive thing. I think mostly parents might have connected in this webinar today. So as parents, they have a big responsibility. I don't like, it's not that you have to tell your children that this is bad and don't do this, don't do that, and so on. Even they use internet, even they watch videos or play games, there should be a limit. It's you who have to decide what is the limit, depending on the age of the child or maybe the activities. It's you who have to be responsible and decide that if you have a limit, or if you can draw a line between what is the negative side and positive side, you can make this a better instrument. I would say internet, you can use it as an instrument to your life. Not only children, not only youngsters, even us, we are using Facebook. We get up in the morning by looking at the Facebook, and we go to bed by looking at the Facebook. And with this COVID situation, we have so much online meetings. It's now has been like 24/7. Most of you might be working, so you might, all of you might have experienced this. It's 24/7. It has affect our family lives as well, because like, no, it's not like a physically meeting. If it is a physical meeting, maybe starting from 8:30 a.m. in the morning and 5:30 p.m., that's it. But with
Yes.
this virtual meetings, now we are taking meetings like 7:30, 8:30 in the night. But we have to understand that we all of us have family lives, especially if you are in a managerial role. When you are deciding when to have the meeting, please consider that even though virtual meetings are very comfortable and you can do at any time, but you have to think of your family commitments and other things as well. So keep your work life from 8:30 to 5:30, even if it is virtual. But after that, you have to enjoy your life going away from virtual life. So it's better you, if you have your own rules. For an example, you can say like, after 8:30 p.m. I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm not going to touch Facebook. You can spend your time with your family, kids, maybe spouse, and so on. And you can have your own rules. It's you who can stop the addiction, or it's you who can bring the line between the positive and negative effects.
Thank you so
I
much,
think
Vindhya.
I hope I mentioned at least few points that might be interesting or important for you.
Absolutely. And I think it's a very timely concern as well, because I think a lot of people are even suffering from and phantom vibration syndrome now. You suddenly feel like your phone is ringing, and you feel
Yeah.
like you're getting some sort of notification or something, but then your phone is actually not ringing. So these are some of the things. And if you're actually noticing any changes in your children's behavior, for example, even eating habits, so I think it's a concern that you should have, right? These are certain danger signs and warning signs for you to actually pay a little bit attention into children, and even not just children, I would say adolescents and adults as well, because I think a lot of people are actually going through this problem, Windy, and that is why I kind of raised up that question. Thank you so much for that answer. So from there, I would like to connect to Anuradha K.
Yes, Rajni.
Yes,
Hello.
Anuradha Ki. Now, children are exposed to screen time for so many hours and hours. They are exposed to Zoom classes and all these things. It's a very big problem. Actually, the parents are pretty much worried about this, whether is it all right, because usually some parents who do not encourage screen time for children now absolutely have no other option other than, getting them to sit in one place and then ask them to do these online studies. So what are the negative health effects of overly using technology, or is being exposed to technology or the internet, and then what can we do to minimize this? And that's the question for you.
Right. So anyway, before going to that, Rasini, let me, comment on the question you have posted to Vinda as well. I mean, using technology is not actually, some people might feel that using something like using YouTube, using the social media application is bad, right? As Vinda mentioned. But when now, but we have encountered, for example, we are dealing with university students, right? So, I mean, when you're learning now we had to go for online learning, right? That is not what we are familiar with. suddenly we had no choice, right? We were forced to go to there. So in such a situation, I mean, using not only referring to study material, using other applications like social media is not actually bad. The reason is like now, if you think about e-learning, for example, there are three important presence you need if you are learning online. One is the teaching presence. That means you might feel the teacher is there. Other is the cognitive presence. That means you should feel that you are developing knowledge. Other is the social presence. You should feel that you have friends, right? So that aspect should be covered. Otherwise, e-learning experience is going to fail. And the other thing is now we are dealing with millennials, right? And now we call them as Z generation, right? Generation C, right? So what they are familiar is not what we are familiar with. We go to library, we read books, those things, right? What they do is they use YouTube, right? And learn something, interesting. Like I think David mentioned. So that is not bad at all. I mean, it's encouraged, right? So coming back to your question, so when we are using internet for a long time, I mean, if you take, for example, undergraduate students, they are doing projects and assignments, right? So when you're doing these projects and assignments, they might have to work for, very long hours, right? So in that case, if you work in such manner, let's say 3-4 days, right? You might get a lot of, issues. You might feel headaches. You might feel your shoulders are aching and your wrist is aching, and you might feel that your, let's say, arms, and let's say you might get shoulder pain, neck pain, all of these pains you get, right? And apart from that, when you're focusing long on your screen, you get eye fatigue, right? So those things can happen. So what you can do, basically what is encouraged is, if when you are using a computer, when you are studying, right? So put your computer in arm's length and sit upright, and you can, keep your materials in your eye level so that you don't have to lean forward, don't hunch, right? So keep it like that. And so place your keyboard in a way that you can rest your elbows so that you are not, your elbows are not hanging out. And again, you might feel put your feet on the ground, well on the ground, right? Again, not hanging. So that you are comfortable, right? You're comfortable in your posture, right? And the other thing is, like, if you have bulky, wristwatches, and sometimes you have, let's say, bracelets or something. When you're typing for long times, you feel pain, right? You might get, complications in your wrist. Sometimes I have seen people going through surgeries as well because of this. Right, so then you can remove those things. If it is a bulky wristwatch, maybe you can keep it aside and you can work on your computer, and later, you don't need wristwatch, right? So if you're if you're using, what is good for your eyes is having your, you should have a light in front of you, right? You shouldn't have, very bright light on your from behind, because then you will feel the glare in your screen, and to see the things properly, you have to lean forward so that the length between you and your screen gets, minimized, right? So that is not good. That's not good for your eyes at all, right? And of course, you can, adjust the brightness of your computer, screen, right? That is also something you can do. And also, of course, what we say is, like, even when you are teaching in the classes, after, probably you will know this, right? So after 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, we give students a break, stretch break, right? Why? Because they can't concentrate straight more than that. We always do it in the classes also. But so if you are following a recorded lecture, so after 20 minutes, just stop it and stretch yourself. Right? So you can do that if it's a recorded lecture. And if there are teachers, please also encourage your students to do that every 20 minutes. Don't make them, don't force them to listen to you 1 hour straight, right? So, it'll be bad for their health, right? And also, drink a lot of water. Those are things, other recommendations. Those are the, general things I can give you.
Right. Thank you so much, Aki. And also, a very small concern, I mean, which was raised from one of our viewers, as asked, I mean, which related to what you discussed earlier. So that is why I thought I'll quickly ask this question. Are there any special precautions for users who access the internet on a public computer?
Public computer. So anyway, if it is a public computer, I mean, we can't have antivirus software or app logs there, right? So what you can do is, anyway, it's not encouraged for you to do that because you don't know what is installed there, right? Sometimes there might be software which is capturing your password. You don't know that, right? Maybe it's there. It can be there, right? So anyway, what is recommended is you can log in. If you really need to log in, just log in and log out properly. Right? That is, and also have two-factor authentication so when you have logged in somewhere else, you will get your message. I mean, if it is going to be accessed somewhere else, you get a message from your phone.
Right. Thank you so much, Anuradhaki, for
Hope
that.
you answered your question, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
From there, I would like to connect to Devini. But I would like to ask this question from all our panelists. If anyone can answer this, please do answer. How can we ensure we aren't violating someone else's copyrights while downloading something? Can anyone give any insight to that before we move on to Devini? Even Devini, if you can do this, lovely.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Devini, can you answer this question?
Maybe Vindhya could also give a different point of view. So when you, so the question was, what can you do to ensure that somebody else's copyright?
Ensure we aren't violating someone else's copyrights while downloading something.
Got it. So it depends on what kind of content you are downloading, right? So, so this then now comes like the whole legal aspect. So, so there are different kinds of things you would be downloading. So, for example, there could be books or like learning material. Then you can have like maybe songs, like music or like videos, and then like so many other like kinds of content. Now, when it comes to copyright, there are very like well-defined laws as what kind of thing comes. What kind of thing is copyrighted. So for example, things like movies or books or music, after a certain time period, the copyright is lifted. So for example, Mickey Mouse is no longer copyrighted. So you can copy Mickey Mouse if you want. But then you have then the next side is like books. Again, generally copyright information will be there in the books, but it's a bit of a gray area because in some countries, if you're using this book for educational purposes, then it is okay to download it. But if you're using it to make money, and this actually might apply for things like music as well. If you're just like you're doing a cover because you just like to sing somebody else's song, that's totally fine. But if you're actually making money out of it, then that's when the problem starts. And then there is a problem of software copyright. So you might be downloading, say, like Microsoft's Office suite or so many other things which have copyright issues, which are actually pirated. Then generally, I mean, this is something you should not do. If you're a student, at least when I was in school, sometimes for educational purposes, most of these companies gave the software for free. But now I think that might not be there. I'm not 100% sure what the legal aspect in Sri Lanka is, but generally you can get it for a very small, like a nominal amount of money, like a really, so it's not, you just need to make sure that you're using the student version, maybe log in using your university student email. Generally you can get it for either free or like a very low cost. If you're not, then you should pay for it.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Devini, for that. And also we have a couple of questions, but then let's say if we can address to all of that, we will do. Time is pretty much the obstacle here. But however, Devini, I would like to ask you, regarding now, since you're working abroad, the work culture practice in global internet-based companies is very different. And at the same time, what are the positive, now we spoke about the health concerns with Anuradha. Okay, so what are the positive health habits that's practiced to avoid the negative health issues that can happen due to overexposure to technology?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So those are like two very different questions and like interesting ones. Let me first start with the first one. So how is the internet tech companies different, say, from others? This is not true of, I mean, I can't generalize this for every single internet technology companies, but this is like kind of a general view. Internet technology companies, I think, have have given the impression that they're really fun places to work at. For example, like the best thing about Booking for me is the food. So most internet technology companies give free food. Most have their in-house chefs. So it's like a different kind of menu a day. You get like salads and desserts and all these things. And then there are also like a lot of fun events. So like you get holiday parties, which are like really, really big, like, you know, Coldplay concert kind of holiday parties. Of course, not now because of COVID. And that kind of fun event. So that's kind of like the in-job, like the side which makes it like quite fun to work at places like that. Another side is that I would say, I mean, with all the privileges, you also get responsibilities. So one side is that I would say companies, which is actually a good thing, internet technology companies are result driven. So once you join the company, it doesn't matter whether, I mean, what your education qualifications are, whether you have a degree or a PhD, that's not the point, or whether, you know, what kind of jobs you did before. Your performance or growth is measured by what you did in that quarter or whatever that evaluation time period is. So if you kind of came up with results, that's a good thing. If not, that's a bad thing. But that's kind of really motivating, because, you know, you could be somebody who came from, you know, some place which is not at all famous, but still, if you're really, really good at your job, that's all that matters. And when I say good at your job right now, not like in the past, not just in the past.
Sure.
And then there is, of course, something that I noticed is that maybe they are more flexible. So, for example, say you want to have a baby, right? Of course, most countries do have maternity and paternity leave, but of course, your responsibilities don't end, like the child suddenly doesn't become independent after maternity leave, right? You need to go for like, I don't know, school sports meets, parents, teachers, your child can get ill, and so on. And one thing I've noticed is that most of these companies try to make things flexible so that you are happy and you can like contribute to the company as well. So maybe a quick example would be one of my colleagues right now. She works 4 days a week, not 5 days a week. And this is going to be the arrangement until the child is about 3 years old. And of course, you're paid only for those 4 days, but then the company can keep her experience and she can spend time with her child. It's like a win-win for everyone.
Yes.
And I don't know, are we good with time?
We'll quickly move on to the second part of it, Devini. Like, so what are the positive health habits practiced to avoid the negative health issues? Yeah.
Yes. So I think Anuradha kind of mentioned most of these, but let me tell some of the things I do, which are very closely related. So she mentioned this thing about doing like 20 minutes of work and then 10 minutes. That's something I do. So it's called a Pomodoro. So it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. So I generally work for about 45 minutes. And then I take about a 10 to 15 minute break, which I just walk around or like have a chat online with one of my colleagues. But it does two things. One thing is like the problem of staring at a screen for a very long time is gone and you're like kind of moving around. The other thing is you become more productive because I know you have 45 minutes. So I kind of quickly try and do stuff in that 45 minutes without like, thinking about other random stuff if I had like longer time.
Yeah.
And I also try to make sure that I get at least about 45 minutes of exercise. So at least like a jog, or I go for a walk. or so on. And this is something which is super easy. I mean, in Sri Lanka, sometimes you might think, okay, we don't have the resources to do that. I don't think that's true. Sri Lanka has a lot of parks. And even at home, like you can play badminton for 30 minutes, say if you have children with your children or with like whoever's at home, that's a pretty good burnout. You should be recharged. And then again, my experience abroad has been some companies have things like nap rooms. So you can just have a quick like power nap for about 1 hour and get like recharged and start again. Or maybe another angle is walking meetings, something I really like to do. So if you don't really need a whiteboard and just want to have a chat with somebody, just go out for a walk. Just don't use your screen unless you really, really want to. Of course, again, during COVID, that's hard. But say during COVID, what I do is I just take my phone and just walk around outside. So a lot of things, but sorry.
No, love. Thank you so much, Devini, for that. I know that time has become the biggest limitation over here. But when you spoke about food, it actually connected me back to school days. So thank you so much for that. And I would quickly like to go to Vindhya now. Vindhya, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, lovely. Nangi, I want to ask you now, we spoke about the cyberbullying part and all these crimes and then, people becoming victimized because of these situations. How can you protect you and yourself or your loved ones from cyberbullying?
Okay.
That is
Thank you. So in order to protect yourself or others from cyberbullying, for example, if you receive a message compromising information that includes targeted harassment of an individual, do not share it for the purpose of entertainment of such behavior. So take time to educate the sender on the harmful effect of cyberbullying and advise them to stop circulating such harmful content. Or you can report the incident if it infringes upon the privacy and safety of the victim. So that's the very first thing that we can do with regard to cyberbullying. And at the same time, do not engage with the cyberbully. So it is best to avoid all contacts and block him or her if the actions threaten your safety and confidence. That's the initial thing that we can do. Block him. Simply we can do that, no? So if he or she does not have contacts with us, if they don't have access, then the problem will be sorted even up to a certain extent. At the same time, recognize the signs. So that means look out for your loved ones for signs like sudden withdrawal, lack of self-esteem, change on eating and sleeping habits, especially with regard to kids, your babies, your children. Or if they are skipping classes and then their sudden disinterest in favorite activities. So these are the signs which may point to the possibility that they have been targeted of cyberbullying. At the same time, refrain from sharing too much personal information online. That, of course, we know. I'm not going to go in depth with regard to that area since all of us are aware of it. And at the same time, do not respond to hate-driven messages, comments. Just leave it. Let it go. So we do not have time to deal with each and everything in our life. So let it go. Do not try to go against and do not try to reply. Just leave it. And at the same time, seek advice from someone you trust and try to have a good, respectful conversation. If not, after trying all these methods, if they don't work, then report the incident if your safety is at risk. Also, think twice before you share images and videos that may compromise your safety or reputation. Maybe your daughter's pictures, maybe your pictures, whatever. So, bullies often use them as ammunition against you. Therefore, we can prevent from doing these things. At the same time, you can check your privacy settings. Also, when using a public computer or any other digital device, always remember to log out of all of your accounts. And at the same time, if you are a parent, a teacher, or a guardian, always educate your younger children on how to practice online safety, because it is very important to advise them on how to be responsible digital users and what to do if they witness an incident of cyberbullying. Last but not least, hold bullies accountable. That is the one of the easiest things that you can do. So let them know that their behavior is unacceptable and they will face consequences if they continue to resort to cyberbullying. So these are very simple things that you can do. So always, we do not need to go and seek legal advices. These are the simple day-to-day things that we can do. Refrain from going against those persons. They must be jobless people who are trying to do something, occupy themselves to do something. So don't let them go. That is the best thing that we can tell you all. And at the same time, let's keep the topic aside and let's talk about the real situation. When it comes to the real situation, ලංකාවේ වර්තමාන මේ සයිබර් අවකාශය කියන දේ තුල 90ක් විතර දරුවෝ මේ සයිබර් අවකාශය තුල තාඩන පීඩන මානසික බලපෑම් වලට පෙළඹෙනවා ලක් වෙනවා. මේක බොහොම සාමාන්‍ය දෙයක් බවට පරිවර්තනය වෙලා ඉවරයි. ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී අපි මතක තබා ගත යුතු කරුණක් තමයි නීතියේ පිහිට පතනවා කියන එක මේ සියලු ප්‍රශ්නවල අවසානයේ නොවේ. දැන් අපි උපදේශයක් දෙනවා නම් පොලිසියට යන්න උසාවියට යන්න කියලා ඒක නෙමෙයි මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳුම. නීතිය කියලා කියන්නේ වෙන කිසිම ප්‍රයෝජනයක් අපිට නැති වෙලාවක අපි යන්න ඕන තැනක්. ඒ වගේම නීතිය පිහිට පැතීම තුලින් මේ දරුවෙක්ව මේ සයිබර් අවකාශය තුල තාඩනයකට පීඩනයකට ලක් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් අපි පොලිසියකට උසාවියකට යෑම තුලින් මේ දරුවා තව දුරටත් ඒ තාඩනයට පීඩනයට ලක් විය හැකි බව අපි මතක තබා ගත යුතුයි.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්.
ඒ කතාව කන්සෙප්ට් එකත් එක්ක හැම වෙලාවෙම දෙමව්පියෝ මව්වරු විදිහට අපි දරුවෝ ඉන්න දෙමව්පියෝ විදිහට හැම වෙලාවෙම අපි උත්සාහ කළොත් දෙමව්පිය දූ දරු සම්බන්ධතාවය ඉතා ඉහළ මට්ටමක පවත්වා ගන්න. අපිට මේ නීතියෙන් ඈතට ගිහිල්ලා අපි මේ කතා කරපු හැම දෙයකින්ම ඈතට ගිහිල්ලා අපිට පුළුවන් වෙයි මේ හැම ප්‍රශ්නකින්ම 100% කියලා කියන්න අමාරුයි. හැකිතාක් දුරකට අපිට ඈත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. ඒ වගේම මේ දරුවාට අම්මා තාත්තා කියන වචනෙන් එහාට ඔබට ගිහිල්ලා යාළුවෙක් වෙන්න මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක් මගහැර ගන්න උදව් කරන්න හැම වෙලාවෙම තමන්ගේ දුව පුතා එක්ක විවෘතව අදහස් වමාරු කරන්න. ඔබට ඉන්නේ අවුරුදු 15ක 16ක දුවෙක් පුතෙක් නම් එයා ගෑන් ළමෙක් පිරිමි ළමෙක් ඔපොසිට් ජෙන්ඩර් එකේ කෙනෙක් ගැන විස්තරයක් කියනවා නම් අහන්න. මුලින් මේ ගැන අහලා ඉන්න. හොඳ සවන් දීමක් කරන්න. එතකොට යම් දවසක මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා නම් ඒක ඒ දරුවාට කලින් අපිට ඒක ඇඟිනවා. අපි දැනගන්නවා ඒක ගැන. හැබැයි කියන්න කලින් කිව්වොත් ආපෝ දැන් ඉඳන් මොන අෆෙයා එකක්ද ඔය පිරිමි ළමයි අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. ඔය ගෑල් ළමයි අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ කියන එක අපි එතනින් ඩිස්කරේජ් කළොත් අපි ඒගොල්ලෝ රිජෙක්ට් කරන දෙමව්පියෝ දත්තරපත් වෙනවා.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්.
එතකොට ඉතා හොඳ සවන් දෙන්නෙක් බවට පත් වෙන්න. දරුවා දන්නවා නම් අම්මා තාත්තා මං කියන දේ අහනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ මං කියන දේ අහගෙන ඉඳලා මට උත්තරයක් දෙයි. දරුවා සයිබර් අවකාශය තුල බුලි වෙන කියන්නේ තාඩනයකට පීඩනයකට ලක්නොත් අම්මේ මට මෙහෙම දෙයක් වුණා මං දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒ தත්ත්වෙට එන්න. හැම වෙලාවෙම මං අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා වගේ නීතියවත් අපිට මේ ටෙක්නොලොජි එකවත් අපිට හැම දෙයක් එක්කම යන්න බැරි අවස්ථා තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට මේ වගේ දේවල් තුලින් සයිබර් අවකාශය තුල සිද්ධ වෙන තාඩන පීඩන වලින් දරුවාව සමස්ත සමාජයම මුදව ගන්න අපිට පුළුවන් අපි ගෙදරින් මේ දේ පටන් ගත්තොත්. දරුවාගේ අම්මා තාත්තා එහෙම නැත්නම් ගාඩියන් බාරකාරයා විදිහට අපිට මේ දේ කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක හන්ද වැදගත්ම දේ. අද කාලටත් අදාළ වෙන වැදගත් මේ දෙමව්පිය දූ දරු සම්බන්ධතාවය අපි ඉතා ඉහළ මට්ටමක පවත්වා ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ තුලින් අපිට මේ ආශ්‍රිත ගැටලු සියල්ල කියලා මම වචනේ පාවිච්චි කරලා අපිට 100% බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නැහැ. හැකිතාක් දුරකට අවම කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියන විශ්වාසය අපි ගාව තියෙනවා. මොකද දවස් අන්තිමට උසාවිය ඉස්සලා කිව්වා. උසාවිය පොලිසිය අපි හැමෝම යන්න ආස තැනකුත් නෙමෙයි අපි එන්න කියන තැනකුත් නෙමෙයි. නීතිය කියලා කියන්නේ අවසානයේ අපි යා යුතු තැනක්. දැන් කෙනෙක් වික්කසාද වෙන්න හදනවා නම් අපි මුලින්ම කියන්නේ සෙටල් වෙන්න try කරන්න. උත්සාහ කරන්න ඉන්න. බැරිම නම් විතරක් වික්කසාදයකට යන්න. එතකොට ඒ වගේ මේ අපි මේ හැමදේම ඩීල් කරන්නේ පොඩි දරුවොත් එක්ක අපේ පවුලේ කට්ටියත් එක්ක සහෝදරිය වෙන්න පුළුවන් අක්කා නංගි වෙන්න පුළුවන් යාළුවෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ හැම අවස්ථාවෙම හොඳ සවන් දෙන්නෙක් වීම තුලින් මේ සියලුම දේවල් අපිට මග අරව ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන විශ්වාසය මං ගාව තියෙනවා.
බොහොම වටිනා අදහසක් වින්දා නංගිවා කිව්වේ. මොකද ප්‍රශ්නයක් අරගෙන දෙමව්පියෝ ළඟට ගියාම දෙමව්පියෝ ප්‍රශ්නෙට කොහොමද රියැක්ට් කරන්න කියන දේ මත තමයි දරුවා තව ප්‍රශ්නයක් දෙමව්පියෝ ළඟට අරගෙන යන්නේ.
අනිවාර්යෙන්ම.
මොකද ඔතනදී දැන් ඔය අපි මේ සයිබර් ක්‍රයිම්ස් ගැන මේ දේවල් ගැන සයිබර් බුලින් ගැන කතා කරාම සමහර දරුවෝ මේ තෙරපි සෙෂන්ස් වලදී ඇවිල්ලා කියන දෙයක් තමයි මේ ඒ කියන්නේ මගේ ජීවිතේ නැති කරගන්න එක හොඳයි මේක අම්මා තාත්තා දැනගන්නවට වඩා කියන එක. ඉතින් එතකොට එතනදී තේරෙන්නේ ඒ සම්බන්ධතාවය තමයි ගොඩාක්ම අපි ශක්තිමත් කරගන්න ඕනේ කියලා බොහොම හොඳ කරුණක් නංගිවා කරේ. ඉතින් බොහොම ස්තුතියි. Thank you so much Vidya. So before actually we wind up everything, we have a small video clip to show that will recap pretty much everything that we spoke today. I hope our technical team is ready with that.
Love and kisses from... Oh, it's on! If someone approaches you online and makes you feel Love and kisses from... Oh, it's on! I'm sorry, guys. I know I've told you I'd share everything with you, but this letter is really, really private. Okay. Now it's safe in my top secret secretive box. The internet is a great place to do research for school. Share pictures with friends, play video games, or check out the latest trending videos. But it's important to remember that there are billions of people who access the internet, and not everyone has good intentions when doing so. You should think carefully before you share personal information, pictures, or videos on the internet, even if you think it is private. Nothing on the internet is completely private. It's a good rule of thumb not to put up anything that could embarrass you later. If you wouldn't want your grandmother to see it, then don't post it. And don't share private information with people you don't know. Trust your instincts. If someone approaches you online and makes you feel uncomfortable or in danger, stop communication with them immediately. And tell a parent or another trusted adult. It's best not to meet in person someone you've only met online, even if you've been communicating with them for a long time. They may not be who they have told you they are, and it could be dangerous. If you do decide to meet someone from online, it's best to meet them in a public place and to not go alone. Always take a friend along just to be safe, and let someone else know exactly where you are going and who you are going to meet. Bullying someone online through email, social media, text messaging, or any other website or app is called cyberbullying and is still a form of bullying. It's often better to block, delete, or try to ignore bullying messages than to respond to them. If that doesn't work, getting help from a parent, school counselor, or another trusted adult might be a good idea. That's especially true if the cyberbullying contains threats. Remember to always keep your personal information private. Check your privacy settings to make sure that only your friends can see what you post. And never, ever share your passwords with anyone else. The internet could be a wonderful place to explore. Just remember to stay safe while doing it.
Right, so we have come to the end of our second webinar for this webinar series, Unleash Your Inner Sparkle. And today we spoke about safe and responsible use of the internet. And it's indeed was a very fruitful discussion. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Vindhya Rankodge, Dr. Anuradha Karnasena, Devini Senaratna, and Vindhya Gunavadhana for actually sharing all their expertise and their knowledge about this very timely and relevant topic. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I can see you all one more time, all of you together maybe. I know that all of you all connected when so many things are going on. I personally know that Vindhya and Anuradha, Aki, they are sitting down for so many Vivas nowadays. And then Devini, it was very hard to get her connected. And still, she made it to every call and, all that. So that's a massive commitment. And thank you. You did this for your school. So we truly, truly appreciate it. And a big hug and a big thank you going out to all of you. Also, and even Vindhya, having a very small baby at home, still managed to, get connected and then do this for us. So thank you so much, Vindhya. And with that, I would also like to thank all members of the executive committee of VVOGA. And I'm actually representing the social activities subcommittee. So a big thank you going out to my convener, Kanchanamala Geekiyanage Akki, who is actually the brainchild behind this concept of having a series of webinars to speak about these very, very timely and relevant topics that's applicable to all of us here. So thank you, Kanchana Malaki, for that. And at the same time, we have a fantastic technical team from, what you can see, the back to everything, even small, small details, everything was taken care. We have a very big team. I'm sorry, I'm not taking names, but I hope all of them are connected now. And at the same time, starting from, because we had a webinar, we had a pre-survey from where we got your input, and then it was very easy for us to design these questions around these concerns that you all had. At the same time, so we had a pre-webinar survey team, and we have our designers, we have publicity. So from A to Z, there are so many girls and so much of effort put behind all these things. So thank you everyone for all of that. Plus, not forgetting our sponsors, who is indeed a massive support system for us. So at the same time, before we go, I also want to mention one more thing. Now we have a massive, massive event coming, Viva La Vida, and that's a night of Visakian virtuosity. So everyone is so excited. It's going out to all past Visakians. I don't have to tell so much about it. It's out there. So please, it's a request from all of you. It's a massive opportunity for you to display your talents. And it's indeed, we are so happy about the hype it has created as well. We released a theme song, and at the same time now registrations are on. So the deadline is the 15th of January. And at the same time, we are hoping to keep our grand finale on the 13th of February. And please do register for this. You can participate by singing, and that's open for group and individual performances, then instrument playing, dancing, acting, miming, and stand-up comedy at the same time, digital arts and arts. So many categories. So please do not think twice to be a part of it, open globally to all past Visakians. Right. So then thank you so much, everyone, for joining with us today. And we are really looking forward to meet you all one more time, many more times, actually. Next time will be February. We are coming up with another very interesting webinar session. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. All the information coming to you as soon as we finish this. So make sure you take the post webinar survey as well. And thank you so much for all your lovely comments and questions. And again, lots of love going out to our panelists for the day. Thank you so much, guys, for doing this. And to everyone out there, keep yourself safe. Take all safety precautions, and much love and more power to you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
අයියලා ඇවිල්ලා. හොඳ නෑ.
ඊට පස්සේ මම ඔයාලා ඔය කාලේ
මෙයාට ඕවා හොඳ නෑ.
ඩයබිටිසෝල් සීනි වලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට විශේෂයි. විටමින් කනිජ සහ තන්තු සමගින් නිසි පෝෂණයක් ලබා දේ.
මේ තමයි ඔයාට හොඳ දේ.
අඩු ග්ලයිසමික් දර්ශකයක් සහිත සමබර පෝෂණීය ඩයබිටිසෝල්.
සිය මාරයි.
සීයාගේ පුතත් මාරයි.